Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Say Report. I'm your host, Devon Decker, and joining me, my host companion, Sejohn Sarowick. Sejohn?
Hey everybody. Welcome to welcome to episode 301.
Welcome to episode 301 that also has the distinction of being the 350th piece of Say Report media released. If you incorporate our mini reviews and our little trailer and all of our very special episodes, not including the Adam Sandler stuff. If you include Adam Sandler, this would be the 375th piece of media. God, I love 25. It's such an easy number to add to things. But yeah, this is cool because it's the one after the 300th episode. Will has started calling us Spartans after we successfully were able to record 300 minutes of content, and I'm dining out on that. I went to the Baskin Robbins and I got a triple scoop cone, and when they asked me for payment, I said I'm a Spartan, and I walked out. And they just let me do that. I don't know why they let me do that, but...
Well, I mean, because Baskin and Robbins really are huge Frank Miller fanboys. So, you go in and you just mention anything about, like, Dark Knight Rises or whatever, they just lose their shit. They just throw ice cream at you.
Really? I had never known that. I was afraid that Baskin Robbins was going to find out where I lived and take the cost of that triple scoop out of, like, my body somehow.
No, they just they like gritty realism and toxic masculinity at Baskin Robbins. That's what they really love there.
That's why it's 31 flavors. The one flavor is blood. I don't know. That's good because in my
Speaking
mind...
of comics, right?
I mean, that's a solid segue, but I have a bit that I want to finish up, so I'm going to finish up the bit. In my mind...
Let's park that segue and watch the end of the bit, kids, and then we'll pull away real slow when it doesn't
In my mind, I was afraid I was going to wake up in a bathtub and 31 flavors of ice cream missing a kidney. So, if they're just big Frank Miller fans, speaking of comic books... speaking of comic books, we're doing a movie today, so it's strange that you would.
Well, wait, that's not the right way to end that sentence.
Yeah. So, what we've done before in the past, how we wanted to kind of. This is sort of our victory lap. It's our walk around the bases where we just kind of want to celebrate the length of that episode. But we also wanted to give you something like a little small, compact, and easy to digest. Something where you can be part of the fun. And we haven't done one in a minute. It's been at least 2 years, possibly 3, since we've done one of these types of episodes. But what we're going to be doing is a commentary track to a piece of media. The first one we did was for the DuckTales pilot, way back in 2017, the first year of the Say Report. Take that, DuckTales. We outlasted you sons of bitches. I mean, I love that show, but it's fun to yell at DuckTales. I don't know about you. I don't want to put words in your mouth. And then the other one...
The day that we can get Lin-Manuel on our show, then we can maybe go toe-to-toe with DuckTales. But for right now, they're still ahead.
Does Lin-Manuel Miranda have to be in the show in an extended role the way he was with Fenton Crackshell? Or one episode with Lin-Manuel Miranda and that's enough?
You know what? I'm going to not count our chickens and just say he can just swing by. He could just casually mention, hey, if he wants to sue us for talking about him for too much in our crap show, I'll take that.
Yeah, that's fine. It's just, you know what? Sitting here at the precipice, the foot of climbing 100 more episodes to episode 400, I've been feeling like I needed a goal. And get Lin-Manuel Miranda on the Say Report seems like as good a goal as any. So let's try to make that happen. It can't be a cameo. We can't pay him a cameo to record some
literal
message.
Okay.
It can't be from the website Cameo. No, it should ideally be a cameo. I don't know if he would be up for all of the fun that's a full episode of the Say Report. However, I would, since the precedent has been set with Will taking the reins of an episode, I would let Lin-Manuel Miranda come in and take the reins to host an episode of the Say Report if that's what he wanted. I would also allow Cynthia Nixon to do it because she played Miranda on Sex and the City. Really, any Mirandas are welcome at the Say Report to take over. From now, episode 301 until episode 400. Maybe we can get Miranda Cosgrove in here. I've gone off the rails. But I'm back to Nickelodeon, which brings us to our second commentary episode, which was of the pilot of Rise of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. And this year, a movie follow-up to that series was released. And when
did we do the live-action series?
What live-action series?
At some point, we did the live-action series, and we did the first episode of a two-parter with Venus de Milo.
We've never done that. You dreamt that.
Okay.
That sounds like a pretty interesting thing to do. Did you do that with Super Kenshi?
Maybe. Maybe I'm thinking back to old shows.
That's not a Say Report thing. Oh my god. I have real heavy thoughts about the next mutation and the inclusion of a female turtle. And they all come from the philosophy based on what Peter Laird set out to do with these characters, which is the fact that he didn't want them to be able to procreate. This was their only chance to make an impact on the history of the Earth, was their lives. There will be no children to carry on their names. It's sort of a weird way to make them like extra special. It's a narrative thing, but that was always his philosophy about it. And like his big thing was there can be no female turtles, because if there's a female Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle, then you can have a baby. That's just, I mean, it tracks, and I get it. And what you really need to think of the fact is that Peter Laird is this huge science fiction fan. So the idea of wanting to create these characters who are essentially alone in the world, who have one shot to make an impact on it, it kind of tracks. Like, how many science fiction things have you ever watched where like that's part of the story?
What, like the inability to procreate? A lot.
Yeah. It's a trope, and he's inspired by it, and it's how he always wanted the characters to go. And I mean, based on everything that we've seen, Kevin Eastman, completely different camp. Because he's the one who introduces Venus de Milo. He's the one who is like sort of co-writing everything that's going on in the IDW series, where there are 3 female turtles at my last check. One of them is a weird Franken turtle that is Venus de Milo. One of them is Jenica, who is a female who got mutated into a turtle because of a blood transfusion. Because, you know, blood transfusions, they're the latest origin for female versions of characters. And I say that, but She-Hulk happened in the 60s. So, like, well-worn trope. And also Jack Kirby involved there, and they're huge Jack Kirby fans. And then the third one is a little albino turtle named Kirby, who was a homeless girl who was caught in the mutagen bomb. And every time I talk about the IDW series, I'm like, man, that shit just went off the rails, huh? Mutagen bombs, and then there's M-Town, where all the mutants now live, and it's just some crazy stuff going on there. Anywho,
so today we are going to do.
We are bringing it full circle. We watched the pilot of Rise of the TMNT, and by all accounts, this movie is now the end of the series. The second season ended beautifully as a way to make it transition those characters into the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles that you saw in all the other bits of media, because they were always meant to be like 13 as opposed to the 15 we see in other things. And then this movie comes along, and this is also, we decided to do this episode like beginning of September. It was not, as soon as this was announced to release, I believe this came out on September 5th, don't quote me on that, but it did come out in September of this year, and as soon as it was announced, it's like, for that like wind down episode after doing our crazy 300-minute episode, why don't we just watch Rise of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the movie? That should be good.
Yeah. You talked about what this really is for us after last week's 300-minute long extravaganza. I will be kind in the words I use. I will say that this is more like a vacation for us.
Yeah, this is that's what this is meant to be. I mean, there's a set time there, and you know, this is not going to go anywhere near a 300-minute long episode. It's also a vacation for you, the listener. So this is the thing. But also, in that time, since we decided we're going to do this episode, there's been a real resurgence of Rise of the TMNT on social media. I don't know how often you're on Twitter, but like I alluded to it earlier, like save Rodham is what they call it. Rise of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. They just call it Rise of the Teenage Mutants. I don't know. But save ROTM NT, that's what it is, has been trending a bunch. And everybody
it's almost like a Netflix movie is the kind of thing to breathe life back into your product.
Your project. I mean, the craziest thing is yesterday, right? We are recording this on October, was it 20th? And Sejohn always says, I don't know why you want to do that, Devon, but the reason why is, like, Liz Truss, after 45 days, has stepped down as Prime Minister of the UK. And, like, that's the thing that happened, and this is the episode where we can address that right now. But, like, what's going to happen to the UK, Sejohn? I'm nervous.
They're going to all come together and listen to this episode while they watch Rise of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and then they're going to realize that they need to do the right thing and bring the Queen back.
All right, it's that. But that's the thing. That's why. Because there's some big things that happened that, like, is why wouldn't you guys talk about it? Well, maybe it hasn't happened yet for us in chronological order. But also, to just be a complete and total jerk about chronological order, no, I'm not going to reference the very special episode, mostly because I forgot what I was going to say just now, because I'm excited to watch this movie. I will say that
if you're the kind of person that listens to podcasts and give them shit not knowing when they record them, you're a terrible human being.
Yeah, Sejohn brings up a good point. Anywho, so what this is, it's a commentary episode. So we're going to tell you when to start it. We'll tell you, you'll know when to start it based on the words that we say. And then if you start it at the time we tell you to start it, our commentary should basically sync up with this movie. And, I got to go back to what I was going to say about the fact, like, the reason why it's the 20th and why that's significant is yesterday, October 19th, Paramount Plus announced on Twitter that the full series is available on Paramount Plus now. But no, it's been available on Paramount Plus. They just were, like, seeing in the water all of this interest in the show and decided, let's tell people that everything's available now. Nothing was added. This was a 26 and then 13. So there's 39 episodes of Rise of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, this series, and everybody is demanding a series 3 after this movie and stuff. So it's a really interesting place to join in, especially when you consider the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles have been a thing since 1984. Mm-hmm. So, like, I don't know what episode of a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle associated bit of media this is. It's definitely more than 300, though. Probably.
Yeah.
If you line them all up tip to tail.
I would eat my hat if there was not already 3 podcasts about just Rodham to begin with. Never mind Turtles, right? Like, the Turtles themselves have probably inspired more pieces of pirate radio and podcasting and I was going to say pay-per-view, no, public access television than anything else we'll ever create, right?
Yeah, right. There's more PSAs about how the Turtles are the devil than, like, I think either of us could ever count. There's the only thing more in this world are grains of sand. All right. So I think we've said everything. This one is on Netflix. It's a Netflix original movie. So if you do want to join in the viewing, that's where you want to go for it. Are you ready over on your end, Sejohn?
Yeah, I think the last thing we should say is that if you are curious about, like, the pilot and what our thoughts were on it, that was literally our, like, 9th episode of the show ever. So, like, go all the way back to the beginning and you'll find
there's no way it could have been our 9th episode of the show ever.
Episode 9, a very special episode, Rise of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. For this month's very special episode, the Say Report sit down with the pilot episode from the latest Ninja Turtle offerings from
So it's our 9th very special episode.
Episode 9, a very special episode, . So if it is just our 9th very special episode, you titled it terribly.
No way.
That is...
The show didn't come out until 2019.
Then again, you might have titled it very terribly, but there you go, everybody.
No, I gotta look at this. Hold on. Episode 9. Toilet Simulations is episode 9.
I'm just reading the page on Spotify, my love. I don't know what else you want from me, man.
My love. Yeah, it's episode 9 of the very special episodes. That's why. That's how they title it. Because what's it? A, B, C, D, E, F, G, HI. So episode I is TMNT commentary, recorded August 20th, 2018.
I'm sorry. Okay, we need to pause the show for a second. How did you get there? You figured out through the ABCs? Do you use a mnemonic device to keep track of the episodes?
Well, no, very special episodes are named by letters. Regular episodes are named by numbers. We're not, pause, we're still talking, we're still live.
I know we are. I am trying to do this math with you. Sorry, the way you keep track of them is via letters.
Via
over
letters,
numbers?
yeah. And it's very
Okay.
easy to know numbers of the alphabet based upon E is 5, J is 10, O is 15. Then was it Q, R, S, T, U? U is 20, and then Y is 25.
Well,
So
what
if
if I
you
say
know
this?
those,
It is August. Oh, yeah.
so if you know those 5, it's pretty easy to jump around. So like,
It's August of 2018. I am just looking at the way that we are set up on Spotify. We may need to go back and revisit our naming convention for these episodes because it is very confusing. Episode 90, episode 92, The Shallow Report. Episode 10, a very special episode, Blade. Episode 93, Ghoul School.
right, because it's a very special episode. It's the 10th very special episode.
Right, but that's not the way that they are labeled or named.
Okay. I don't know. It's they're supposed to be their own season. So it's not like on Apple they show up as their own season. And that's the whole thing.
They're
so
just woven right into the tapestry here on Spotify.
Well then, that's something to know for later. Welcome to episode 301, the one where we have a production meeting in front of you.
The one where we figure out how to produce this show finally.
I don't know. Spotify was a late addition. I built this for Apple. All right.
Oh yeah, no shit, man. Right when we started this show, right? Like we weren't aiming for anything but fucking Apple and then whatever Google aggregate existed at the time.
Yeah. So that's pretty much it. All right. So now that we've derailed this way, hopefully you have it up on your screen and you have it set at 00. And right now, press play. Ba-bum. I'm opening my last red lightning for 350.
Oh man. Boob.
Did SpongeBob just release ooze that turned on the Nickelodeon sign? Oh, it's slime.
Slime. It would be slime. Yeah, it would, in this case. Yeah, don't get it twisted. There's many a different Newtonian fluids in the Nickelodeon verse.
Now that they own the Turtles, definitely. It's a Netflix movie, Nickelodeon production. I love these guys. I hate Donatello in this show, though. I'm just going to say that straight up from the beginning.
All right.
All right. Todd! Do you know who Todd is? What do you know about Rise of the TMNT?
Oh, not much, except right now it looks like Zack Snyder directed this one.
Oh yeah, this is from if you mention this at Baskin Robbins though, you aren't gonna get a free ice cream. Look, it's Casey Jones. Oh yeah, look at him go.
He's very young in this one, huh?
I mean, well, Leo looks kind of old.
Yeah, yeah.
New York 2044. It's 22 years later.
Yeah, well, for 22 years later, Casey looks even younger. Maybe this is like Casey Jones Jr.
Yeah, well, I mean, Casey Jones is not in the show, so he's a new character.
Oh, that's why they name dropped him so awkwardly. I get it.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. They're like, do I ruin the show? Okay, sorry. There's big stuff happening.
Wait, yeah, there is some really big stuff happening.
Oh, he's got a fake arm. Leonardo lost an arm. And Todd is dead.
And Michelangelo is an old psychic. Are we like you're skipping over some really key?
I like that he has a
red
tattoo.
ab tat. Yeah.
What is a ninja's greatest weapon? Hope. That seems like TV ninja weapon. Oh, okay. Time travel. Can we address the fact that the only things we've done commentaries of have featured a blue Ben Schwartzman?
Okay.
It's just an
That's a
interesting
weird,
thing.
yeah, life is funny. That is a weird realization.
Actually, it
Now we
looks
have
like
to.
he has Raphael's arm.
Oh, he's got like a beefy arm and like a smaller arm. I see.
Yeah. I think it's Raphael's arm. Is Raphael dead? What's going on
Maybe
with
they maybe they combined. Maybe they like Super Saiyan like
It's fusion dance.
fused. Yeah,
Being a
fused.
Saiyan has
Yeah.
nothing to do with fusion. The Krang. Save the cheerleader, save the world.
This gives a lot more of a sci-fi superhero style background to Casey Jones,
I know he's Kyle Reese at this
and I
point, right?
don't love that. I'm saying that having not watched the rest of this movie, so we'll see how I feel at the end. But right now, I'm a little concerned about the fact that the guy that is supposed to be the normal everyday Joe that fights along with Raph.
Oh man, like the the craziest thing is that I've watched the series, so there's so much lore that like explains things that I
I
like.
don't know if there would be like a justification for my feelings on the idea that Casey Jones shouldn't be a time traveling Kyle Reese character from the future with like knowledge and abilities that like
Well, I
the
mean,
weird shit in Casey's life is supposed to be giant talking turtles, right? And that is now no longer going to be the weirdest thing he's ever dealt with. And
that's
in fact, is going to be quite normal to him, considering what we now know about him being taught by the turtles as like a student.
that's a point. You need to understand that to me, Casey Jones is a female based on the TV show. So the fact that there's a male Casey Jones, my mind is already blown. That's where I'm coming from.
So there is a Casey Jones on the show,
She
but it
she
is a female like XP.
Her name is Cassandra Jones. She acts as a recruit to the Foot Clan for most of the series, and in the final episode, she joins the Turtles to fight against the Shredder, and then
So
reveals that her name is Cassandra Jones, but my friends call me Casey.
so my bit about it being Casey Jones' long lost relative might actually be
There's a good chance that that's what's going to happen.
exactly what's going to happen.
Apparently, moi is Spanish for Leo, a Spanish word.
Isn't moi French?
Yes, that's, I think, the joke. It's for children. It's not for 35-year-olds.
Oh, I thought you were saying moi was a Spanish word, and I
No,
wanted to be like, Dev,
no, Leo said moi.
I
I don't
heard
know.
it. We're watching the same movie, Dev.
No one. This seems absurd. Walking up bridges with pizza boxes on your head?
Oh, don't do that. Don't start pointing out the absurdity of this cartoon about the turtles that talk.
I mean, I get talking turtles. If a turtle talked to me in real life, I would just be like, what do you want on your pizza? Donnie! Donatello also Jewish now. If any of the turtles were going to be. I All right. So I also need to tell one other thing from the show, because
Hmm.
in the first episode, Raphael was the leader, right? The whole
Right.
idea was that he was the hero. The last line of the last episode of Rise of the TMNT, Splinter goes, "Oh, and now Blue is the leader." So, like, I think Leonardo's supposed to be the leader now, and Raphael's like doing a handover with him.
So that was one of the things in the description I had questions about. They apparently also have mystic abilities now. Is
So
that what's
yeah,
up with that?
in the finale episode, they open up a gateway, like a box that is holding the soul of the Shredder in it, and along
Okay.
with the Shredder is released Karai Hamato, who is their long lost like relative, great 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 grandmother is what she is to them, and she teaches them how to use their Hamato Nimpo to have mystical powers. Which is also how I was waiting for you to mention it, but this seems to be the time. They have the actual Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle weapons because in Rise of the TMNT, like he just had one big sword. He didn't have two katana, and Raph
Yeah.
had tonfas, and Michelangelo had that yo-yo ball from Kill Bill. But they
So
used
is all of the like push to bring this show back and obviously in this movie and all of this, is that come from, oh, they're finally going in a direction where we can see like them doing actual turtle stuff? Or is that coming from people who want the show as it was, but they just pulled an entire like curveball in the last 5 minutes of the show? Like it sounds like what you're describing is some huge changes to what that show was going to be anyway, and then it didn't continue. So are people excited to see that, or do people want just more of the old shit?
well, so as we defined the first episode of the series, it kind of felt like Teen Titans Go. That was what kind of everybody was comparing it to. And the
Hmm.
first season is kind of like just absurdity. But then the second season of Rise of the TMNT, highly serialized. The last 6 episodes directly lead into each other. It's
Hmm.
incredible how they work and how everything happens. So I gotta tell you, like, I would love that storyline to continue. And what I'm seeing now, it doesn't feel like that finale. It seems like I don't know, but people love the show. Oh no, portal technology.
Oh, well, there goes the whole arm conversation.
I mean, it's Mystic Raph arm, so he's okay. He didn't cut his regular arm. You been portal chopped. Am I Leonardo in this group? Also, call out on the hippopotamus character, Hypnopotamus. That's Reese Darby from Our Flag Means Death.
Nice. I was wondering if the hot dog was Chris Parnell for a hot second, but
the
it's not, but it should be.
the hot dog? You mean the
Yeah.
worm? It's it's that guy who like his name's Michael something. He plays the bald guy that Elaine dated, and then he grows his hair back, and it turns out that he's actually bald now. He's basically like a poor man's um the guy who played Phil's dad on Modern Family.
You are all over the map, my dude.
I am. I'm very sorry.
Fred Ward, by the way, I believe is who you're.
Fred Ward is not who I'm talking about. It's
No, not Fred Ward.
Fred Ward is Tremors.
Fred Ward is Tremors.
Um, Willard Shaw.
Fred Willard.
Fred Willard. Yeah, he's poor man's Fred Willard. Yeah, see, like that doesn't make any sense. That Raph would still worry about his brothers. Yeah, they have undone everything that happened in the finale of TMNT of Rise of the TMNT, the TV show, because the lesson that Raph learns is that he needs to depend on his family the way that they depend on him. So they've just undone that, except for the fact that now they have the ninja weapons that they turned basic gardening equipment into with their mystic powers. I love Splinter in this show.
We have a voice actor.
Oh, who is doing the voice of him? Eric Bazoo or Bowser. Eric Bowser does the voice of Splinter. He's so good. Hot soup.
I
Hey,
do
look.
very much like the style. Like I like, especially a lot of this like insert like background stuff where it's very like it's got a very rad like 90s feel without feeling like the 90s Ninja Turtles, right? Like it's got like very sharp edges and very neon colors and all that.
What Dale just pointed out to me, because we were watching like earlier episodes of the TV show, is I love that the black outline around all of the characters is like fuzzy. It's not like hyper sharp. It's like they
Mm.
almost did it with like crayon or chalk.
Yeah, or it looks like pencil drawing as
Yeah.
opposed to being done with like a digital,
Oh,
even
so
though it probably was done digitally, but
yeah,
it was feels like it was done with an intention, right?
yeah. And she is in university now. She's at East Laird when she was in high
Nice.
school before. So Dr. Boringson, I presume.
Oh man.
PhD, MD. This is cool. Mr. Magoo in 2022. Oh no. I really like when they combine Eastman and Laird into one word. Like when you should go over to the Warehouse on Lairdman Island. Also, apparently, this school in the center of New York is doing biochemical experiments.
I mean, if Spider-Man's to be believed, they all are, so.
That's a good point. I always forget about Spider-Man. Oh, that looks like the ooze from the 2012 show. Also, April's a ninja now because Karai was killed. Spoilers for Rise of the TMNT, the TV show, and her spirit went into April, allowing her to unlock the Hamato Nimpo, despite not being a blood relative.
So they've done a few different iterations of April with some a little bit more oomph, I guess would be the way to look at it. Like, so I think specifically TMNT with Sarah Michelle Gellar playing her, she has some definite training in that one. And then the other one is I don't know about the first one, but Out of the Shadows, the second not Jerry Bruckheimer, Michael Bay
Michael
produced
Bay,
one.
yeah,
She's
Platinum
also got
Dunes.
she's got a couple of different things in that she's definitely got some fighting ability, but then on top of that, she's also got some like really badass like James Bond style like costume work and things like that that she does.
So the first time that you really saw that was in the 2003 show, where she's like, "I feel like I'm useless to this group. Splinter, will you please train me?"
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So it's kind of been a big part of it going forward. I mean, into 2012, she's actually a mutant. So, like, that's a whole thing. And then in this one, I mean, this is probably my favorite April O'Neil, but mostly because they went back to her being African American. Like, a lot of people had a problem with that, but she was black in the original comics. Because the only reason April even exists is because Kevin was dating a girl named April who was black, and he put her into his comic. I've had some crazy conversations with the people who are behind these characters. It's it's also weird that he would identify himself as Casey Jones and they know somebody named Casey Jones and none of them are like, that's interesting. Donatello's the worst in this show.
You're dead.
I mean, Splinter's right there. he's eating a rat. That's what that means, right?
I mean, rats do eat their own, I guess. That's not actually out of the ordinary for rats in general.
Leonardo, the greatest ninja the world's ever seen. Save the cheerleader, save the world. What? In other Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle series. Oh. Hey, it looks like the Turtles. I want
Oh,
figures of
yeah.
those guys.
I actually literally did not pick up on that.
I mean, this is an. I'm into this story. I like that they have little underwear on. I mean, like, do you guys not remember? It's in the house, isn't it?
This
Oh, I guess they don't get to see the flashback that we get to see.
right.
Wow, Leonardo is the architect of his own fate, apparently. I would also love a show
I
that is this Leonardo, Dewey from the 2017 DuckTales, and Sonic the Hedgehog live action doing things together.
and John Raffia, why the fuck not?
Because I don't know the
But
character.
but I just I don't love this characterization of Leo either. He's just so useless.
Yeah, they made Leonardo the comic relief because once Raphael was the leader, they needed to do something with Leonardo, and they're like, let's make him a cocky son of a bitch. It's
I mean,
strange.
I do kind of enjoy the idea that he's not just the same. Like the thing, the one of the biggest issues I have with a lot of characterizations of Raph and Leo is that they feel very much the same character, and so like them fighting makes sense because they both see a lot of the things that they don't like about themselves in each other and all that. So like I understand wanting to maybe move away from that because if they're just the same, but then all they did was they just photocopied Michelangelo.
And well, the real thing is that Michelangelo in this series calls himself Doctor Delicate Touch, and he's really just more heartfelt and loving. He's not as much as a goof waffle as Leonardo is.
Weird.
Yeah.
Okay,
I mean,
okay.
it's
I mean,
always weird when
you
you
know.
do like the stuff because in the 2003 show, Michelangelo's a fucking asshole. Like everyone will agree that he just acts like a selfish piece of shit in that series.
Yeah.
And then and it's like we should leave that characterization in the past, but that's basically what Donnie is in this show.
Yeah.
Like with that whole my future self would have come back and given me the lottery numbers like we planned. Like he's really selfish, and I don't get that for Donatello. I guess it doesn't seem logical.
Yeah.
Oh, like yeah, like the portals that Leonardo is making. That's just him using mystical powers. That's kind of like his mutant ability. Oh God.
It seems like a very cool Elseworld story. I just don't understand. Like, I don't dislike it. It's just that as somebody that wants to watch a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles show or movie, this doesn't feel like a TMNT movie or story, you know?
Which is an interesting thing because you brought up the 2007 movie, and that film is very much like based on a comic from the TMNT, but the lack of Shredder and the fact that they're hunting the monsters, a lot of people feel like that doesn't feel like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Hey, it's Krang or something.
Well, and I think well, I think what that speaks to is the idea that I'm not opposed to the idea of changing up stuff to have something new and exciting to discover with the characters, right? I'm not opposed to that. It's just a lot of what's going on here is kind of going against the heart of the characters, as opposed to the 2007 movie where the characterization of the turtles and Casey and April all feel really good. So the fact that it's stuff that I've never seen them do before is okay because it still feels like it's a turtles story.
Yeah, I agree. That's what I was going to say. It's the character changing the characterization kind of inherently changes who the turtles are in some very strange ways.
Well, and it changes the whole oeuvre of the show because the
Yeah.
whole concept of this franchise is the four of them and their relationships, whatever that may look like, right? And
Yeah.
like the study of the familial, the team building,
Wait,
the hero side of it.
he just stole their mystic powers. So
Yeah, well, there
also
you go, man.
like
So
maybe
even that one bit that they kept from the show, they just got rid of.
but they shouldn't have their weapons anymore cuz that was through their mystic powers that they had. I don't know. Oh, so it's Superman 2. They were in the Phantom Zone. This is Zod. That's the lady. I don't know her name. Yeah. Oh shoot, the Technodrome. And he's the mute guy, just like Superman 2.
Nice. I mean, there is clearly like a love for turtle lore going on. Like, I
Yeah.
also don't want to act like I feel like these guys just don't get it because it's also not that. Because I mean, there clearly is a lot of that going on with the Technodrome showing up and the use of the Krangs and like all of this shit. So like, I'm on board still. I'm just having a real hard time
He said it.
like
He said
buying
the
into
thing.
their shit.
Yeah, I don't.
What?
And it was interesting seeing these characterizations and falling in love with them in the series. But again, for you, who's only ever seen one episode of that and then watching this movie, yeah, it's probably very alien to you.
Eh. But
Sorry.
nope. Never apologize.
Jeez. This is also a huge part of the finale episode is that they have to make a tactical retreat and they've never had to do that before. So again, the fact that like retreating is the best option here and that they'd fight it is very strange. It weirdly feels like it's rewriting that finale episode in some ways. These things are freaking cool though.
The space coffins that they all
Yeah.
have? If you say so.
I mean, I guess they'd be cool in not Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
I mean, they're cool here. I don't mean to be.
Like escape coffins that fly around.
Okay, so Raph has to.
So Raph took care of Splinter. That was all he really cared about.
Right. That's what I'm saying. Is
Yeah.
because I'm totally on board for a Raph and Leo like story. If this is about.
Okay, so they got back the key that shut the doorway. So that's good. They got the MacGuffin. But now they can't get out of there because they don't have their space coffins anymore.
Oh no. Oh no.
Oh, God.
See, this is good.
Yeah. Oh, jeez.
That rat had amazing hair.
Yeah, he looked kind of like Lu Jitsu. Why did they have an escape pod for Casey Jones?
Spares? I can get it.
They've never used Donny pods before. He was Mark Beeks in DuckTales. Just to talk about other characters.
It's almost like the world of animated voice acting is a very small one.
Yeah, that's an unfortunate truth. Who's voicing Casey Jones? Like it sounds familiar, but I can't quite place it. See, Donnie's a selfish jerk, and I hate it. Oof. That's always the risk you run by having someone from the future in your show. Shouldn't he not exist anymore if they've changed the future?
It depends on what the time travel rules of this world are, right? Like
That's a good point.
Well, what's weird is they clearly have.
Pell Mell. God, it's so interesting how this mirrors the 1990 movie. Raph would generally drive in the show.
Cute.
Just letting you know, I don't. God, I love April O'Neil in this show. She's just so no nonsense, like just badass character. Commander O'Neil. I mean, she's probably dead in the future too, right?
I mean, as far as I could tell, the only two people that were alive were Leo and Mikey, right? And
Right. And briefly Todd before he got lasered to death. Todd is a mutant capybara. Just for the record. He's fantastic. Remember when Roseanne Barr was the voice of the Krang leader in Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2012?
No, but that's an amazing fact.
Yeah. And Gilbert Gottfried was the voice of Krang Subprime, the second in command. They had some great voice actors in that show. Lewis Black was Spider Bites. That was a good show. I like this show too, though, but this movie's weird so far. Duty? Yeah.
I mean, they've got Leo learning that he needs to shape up, and they've lost their mystic abilities, so now they just are regular ninjas, which is so it's a lot of like it feels like course correcting again, what sounds like a buck wild ending to an otherwise pretty awesome TMNT show.
I mean, the Buck Wild ending, but it's all earned. As crazy as it sounds, they earn every minute of that ending by like revisiting parts and moments of the show. And also, like, there's this moment where Shredder is searching for Empyrean to steal the Hamato Nimpo from them. And when he finds it, there's a Krang skeleton in like the temple. So like I don't know if that's going to play into this movie or not. Like it seems like they were setting up the Krang in that finale. I don't know. I don't know how to feel about this. Oh, cool. I hate when they do this. Up? Ugh. That's the voice of Donatello and Raphael from the first show, and Donatello from the 2012 show as the Foot leader. I can't think of his name right now. He also
It
voices
doesn't matter. He's now
Pinky.
dead. So
Yeah, he's a gross guy. And now I also wonder about these foot like soldiers. I guess they're humans because in the series they were like origami creatures. And the Foot Clan really was unable to find members. You've never seen the turtle tank. But okay. You're a jerk, Donatello.
I do like his red and blue goggles. I have to say, it's a very rad detail.
Oh yeah, he's very Ray Stantz kinda. Yeah, you're right. This is basically Terminator, and that's weird for the
I mean,
turtles.
imagine if it had been Casey Jones Jr., right? That's all they needed to do was just apply some conceptual logic to the idea that this is just not the Casey Jones that everyone all knows and loves. Because it's clearly not, right? Like, and I think that's the thing that's getting me.
So I think about the fact that like there's precedent for the turtles going to the future in the 2003 series. The sixth season is the
Oh yeah,
fast forward
time
season.
travel in general is a
Oh, it's
huge part of
as
Turtles
soon
lore,
as
right?
the eighth issue of the comics, they're time traveling.
Right,
But
for sure.
like the April and Casey's child is named Cody Jones. Like the fact that he's Casey Jones is
Yeah.
very strange. Especially like I said, Casey Jones in this series to me is a female. So like is that going to end up being her kid? Cuz like why isn't she here? It's very strange. That was terrifying. That was like Titanic but from Harryhausen.
I mean,
Or
or
H
the
or
Blob.
Geiger, yeah.
There are direct one-to-ones that we could mention.
So I actually have a real problem with the turtle tank right now because where Leo was sitting is where Raphael would sit, and he would drive there. That's what those joysticks are for. There was no steering wheel there. It was set up like a spaceship because it was a spaceship built into a tank.
Oh, well, Donnie's been making improvements. It's fine.
Okay, I'm fine.
I know I'm with I get that if they completely change this thing.
Yeah. I mean, I have a lot of affection for Rise of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and the
Hold on, he
changes are a
just said
little
word.
weird. Word.
He said you were the most innovative mind.
Yep.
And then he's saying you are to him.
Yep. But you don't have mystic powers right now because they were taken. Oh, he looks so good as an old turtle. Do you know which turtle is the last Ronin? While we're talking about like apocalyptic futures and the turtles.
Is that not Raph?
No, I don't want to spoil it for you if you're ever gonna read it. So like spoilers for the last Ronin. If you're someone who's watching and listening to this episode with us, it's actually Michelangelo.
Interesting.
Yeah. I would watch a show called Leo Knows Best. It'd be like Father Knows Best, but with turtles. I really like about this show, I'm going to credit things that I like about the show, that there are 4 different species of turtle.
Yeah, I was actually noting between color palettes and shape and all of that sort of stuff. Like I do like that they are 4 different. I think we actually mentioned that when we watched the first one, is that it gave a really cool uniqueness to each of them as opposed to other versions where they look exactly the same, just insert color palette, right?
Yeah. And yeah, because I mean, Donatello is clearly like a soft shell turtle, so that's why he has the backpack to protect himself. It's cool. And Raph's is a snapping turtle.
No, I've been saying
Yeah, it's
since
very
the
cool.
get-go on this one
Yeah.
that I very much love the style. Like I think style-wise they clearly hit the mark.
I like the Splinter too. Like I like that he's like older kind of and squat. I don't know. I love you, April. Uh-oh. So I hate to do it, but it also doesn't make sense that that turtle cycle would be there because the turtle cycles make up the wheels of the turtle tank. So I don't know. Weird changes. It's cool though. Fighting a bunch of
Yeah, I mean, and
aliens.
again, and I'm
Like
totally on board with the idea that they would have more toys as they got better at this stuff and Donnie had free time.
yeah.
I just, you'd wish that they would like say something to make it all better, but whatever.
Well, like it's very clearly Michelangelo's bike. It has like his designs on it. Like I wish it looked like it belonged to April, as if Donnie built her a bike. I do love April O'Neil on a bike though.
There you go.
See, look at that. Nana's becoming part of the plot. Ha, vomitello.
Well, Donnie's the one that also gets his shell broken eventually, right? Because like they straight up even use that as a plot point in the Michael Bay one that he gets his shell cracked.
Yeah, I mean it. That happens to a lot of them, but I mean Donatello is the one who
Or is it Raph? It might be Raph
it's
is the one that
Raph
gets
who
really
gets his
cracked.
shell cracked because that was a big part of the 2012 is that his like plastron was broken. But in terms of Donatello in the comics, he winds up in the body of Metalhead, and like he like winds up shrunken and then piloting like a turtle mech to fight.
Fucking wild. See, part of the amazing, holy crap. Um, but also part of the reason why, like I can't get too upset about them taking extreme liberties with concepts and characters is because that's also something that comics just always fucking did. And that's what all comics do with all characters. Like getting like heavily invested or married into like archetypes and storylines and then getting pissed when those things are not met in different versions. You can't play that game because like I mean, look at the April O'Neil conversation we were having earlier, right? Like people getting like shitty about the fact that they decided to explore the idea of what if she was an African American character, and you pointing out she already kind of was, guys. We're forgetting that major part of the history that she was whitewashed for television and film.
She was like white redhead washed. She was made the polar opposite. I don't know. It's I guess what's weird about
Oh,
this one is
resolve that little issue real quick.
no, it's just not whatever. It's just it's like I don't know. I've never met a redheaded African American person.
No, I meant Donnie having a soft shell.
Oh, the
Sorry, I
soft
was
shell.
pointing out the thing we're
I
watching.
thought you were talking
They-
to me. Did you see that kind of bebop looking guy on the street?
Yeah.
No, it's one of the things where I'm all about the turtles evolving and changing, but like this very much feels like it's meant to be a continuation of established canon that is kind of spitting in the face of what was there before. Look, he's got the green shoes of Casey Jones from the '87 series. Oh man.
Never meet your heroes, kid.
So like it's fucked up, right? Because Leonardo had to go through this to become the person that this Casey Jones knows. Oh my god, say
Here
it.
it is.
Bam! That never meet your heroes, kid. I want to know who's voicing Casey Jones.
I mean, I could look this up
No,
if
you
you
don't need
really.
to.
We're gonna do this. We're gonna do this in real time. This is what we do, folks. When we do these commentary episodes, this is us experiencing this.
Oh, was that a Goyle walking by? Is that the police chief? Is that Chief Stearns? O'Neill, my office now. Jeez, the tallest building in the city. Oh, they look cool in natural light. Like, I thought they were all kind of the same color, but they're
Holy
not.
shit, I will give you 3 guesses. It's actually a phenomenal poll. Holy crap.
I mean, like, no hints at all, just 3 guesses.
Let me see. Hold on.
Whoa, that was cool. Like, there's great imagery in this movie. Just doesn't feel like Rise of the TMNT.
Child actor. I'm trying to think of some good
Haley
clues
Joel Osment.
Yep. There you go. There you go.
Like, I knew the voice, something about it. You put it in my head. Thank you. I appreciate it. Also,
Yeah,
we'd be
it's
really
a great
fucking
poll.
good at the bowl game. Should we, like, go places and play the bowl game?
Yeah, right. Yes, is the answer to that. Competitively, and then make a movie out of it, a la Broken Lizard.
Love it. It's perfect. The Bowl Bowl? Is that the name of this movie we're writing?
Bowl game bowl, the bowl game, the bowl bowl, the bowl game bowl.
The Bowl Game Bowl. I actually
That's a good bit for it. That's a good bit for in the movie, but I don't know if that's a good title.
It's a fair. That's a fair. I mean, I guess just bowl game. I don't know.
Of course, the band that's playing at the bowl game Super Bowl halftime show is definitely Bowling for Soup.
Yes, obviously. Because there's no, I don't even know what's happening here. Maybe it's the Kinks.
I noted earlier that while they don't have their ninja powers any longer, quote unquote, Leo was able to conjure up like sparks of it, which implies that it's probably like the magic is still in them situation, right?
Yeah, so like, is it going to be one of those situations where you gotta believe? You know, like how you don't use drugs, you just believe in yourself.
I mean, I just like the idea of them just losing their mystic powers and just being ninjas. Like, I think that's rad, but...
Well, I mean, it's really interesting. Again, like, there's precedent for that. Because the 5th season of the 2003 series, they become mystic warriors, and then when they go to the future, they lose those powers. And then the 7th season, they're in, like, the internet somehow, fighting the Cyber Shredder.
And then secretly, the later seasons of that show are just reboot.
Yeah, they're essentially reboots, but... Is it? You know what I'm mad about this? They took out Raphael. Like, I understand that, like, he's the guy I connect to, and him not being in anything is a little sad to me.
Well, it's interesting considering what you've described as his importance in the main show, that he is the character not in a third of this movie so far.
I mean, that always happens to the Turtles, right? They always lose their leader and then have to learn what it means to be, like, a leader and what they do.
It's Raph in the original movie, right? That ends up knocked out and them taken care of up in the farm, isn't it?
Yeah, and it's Leonardo in the comic that's based on. So, like, that's why it's tenuous who the leader is in the early days of the series. Because there's that whole scene in the very first comic where Splinter's like, Raphael, I've given you this mission because I couldn't trust your brothers with it.
Hold on, we have to see if he can get through the killer clown cotton candy here. Oh no!
Oh, God. I mean, I'm not surprised, but I'm freaked out. Oh, shit. He kind of looking like Slash with the one big eye. That's good. That's good design right there. I also like that the Krang are capable without like exosuits.
Well, they have to be a formidable threat, right? Like, I think
Yeah.
that's one of the biggest sins that the shows and the movies have done with the Krang is they've always turned them in kind of the butt of the joke. I mean, fucking Brad Garrett playing him in Out of the Shadows is proof of that enough, right?
I love Brad Garrett though.
I love him and I love the characterization in that movie, but they are just there for fucking laughs. Like
Yeah.
they're not. There's no stakes in that with those characters specifically in that movie.
God. The way that they've like mutated and grotesqued everybody who's infected by the Krang is beautiful. The world awaits destruction is a sexy line.
I like that they could also take over machinery too. Apparently, there's a lot going on here that's very wild. That was at that was fucking sick. Oh yeah. Oh man.
Credits. No. Their designs are very reminiscent of stuff from the Shantae series with the
Yeah.
one big eye and the
Well,
claws.
well, it's that stylistic thing that I was pointing to that they're
Yeah.
clearly they're really leaning into is there's a lot of straight lines until there doesn't need to be, and then there's like the curves are very noticeable because of how jagged everything else is and that kind of stuff.
Yeah. I also kind of like that the key is like a tiki. Like that's why the Bradys had bad luck was because of this Krang key.
Well, like it's horrible that it kind of starts to imply this kind of concept that by just putting like a tiki figure in front of us that we start thinking of like otherness and old worldness and all those other things going on. But like that is definitely the implication, right? Is that
Yeah.
this is a key left behind by them millennia ago, so it belonged to an old culture that we don't have any real reference point for any longer.
Yeah, exactly. It's I don't know. Ugh. Oh, look at it. It's so gross. I feel dirty.
I don't know. I've been watching Futurama a lot lately, and this is just Beast with a Billion Backs all over again.
That's a good point, huh? That's probably my least favorite of the 4 Futurama movies, though.
That's fair. The resolution of all four of them, yeah.
Wait, that's not the resolution. The resolution is the wild green yonder.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Into
With
the
the
breach, meatbags.
with
No,
the space
I was just thinking
whale,
it's the resolution of the breach that gets introduced at the end of
at the
Bender's
end of
Game.
Bender's game, and then they're just like, "Oh yeah, we cleaned that up." Oh God, look at them.
The Council of Krang.
Welcome, we are the Krang. Oh,
Ooh.
I guess they're getting exosuits.
They just made their own.
Oh, I like that the Technodrome's kind of like that alien that Ozymandias created to kill a billion people.
I don't know what you're talking about. I've only ever seen the Watchmen movie.
Oh, Alan Moore hates you.
Alan Moore probably does for a lot of other reasons, to be honest, but
That's right. Alan Moore does hate me with good reason, Devon.
he knows why. I correct me if I'm wrong, but I'd always imagined the Technodrome was supposed to be planet-sized, right? Like, isn't that the whole deal with it?
I mean, it can't be planet-sized and then attack Earth in the 87 series. It's supposed to be like a large, imposing tank.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. I guess I had always imagined it was something more on like the Death Star of like that's no moon style shit. Like,
I mean,
but
it is based on the Death Star, but it's not something like that. Like, it's just a big round thing. But we already have changed the future because all of this didn't. Well, this is the day that it was supposed to happen, right? So did this only happen because Casey went back in time? Oh, right. I guess it was already there. I see dead people. Technically, he does.
apocalypse. We're just in a different apocalypse, is what I would have said, nerd.
I don't know if a ninja's greatest weapon is hope. I gotta go read some ninja books after this.
I gotta go rewatch Ninja Assassin.
Ooh, as a team. I forget how fun it is to watch things with subtitles on. I also wonder if April still has her mystic powers, because she wasn't on site when they had their mystic powers stolen.
This movie has yet to tell me that April had mystic powers to begin with, so I
Yeah,
don't
so
know.
that's the thing. Well, Splinter at the end of the series has had a total upgrade when he taps into his mystic powers. So I don't know what's happening here. Fly that spaceship, Donatello.
Well, I will say that they've introduced the idea of different branches, different timelines, changing the future, and all that now. All they need to do at the end of this movie is just set things back and then go back to the instant this movie started when they all just had mystic powers and no questions are asked.
True, that's a good point.
And then it could just be an interlude in the like finale like point five.
I guess I'm choosing to look at this as a Tales of the TMNT. Like a fun story, but doesn't necessarily have any credence to the actual bit. It works
We'll
enough
see if
as
they
that.
do.
Yeah, I
If they
guess.
do
Yeah,
pick the series back up, we'll see what they then do with the revelations of this film. And again, we haven't finished watching it yet. We don't know
true.
what's going to
That's
happen at the
true.
end of
You're
this.
right. You're right. I don't know. Look at that Devil May Cry 2 helicopter. I like Devil May Cry 2. I'm not going to apologize for it.
Did he really see that from across the city? What did he? How did he?
He's got freaking Iron Man powers.
I guess that's true. He is using the whole.
He's got, I guess, Sheldon, right? Because that was the name of Donnie's like little Jarvis in the show.
Nice, nice, nice. I will say that in comparing it to Teen Titans Go, which I think you said we did at the time when we saw the first episode, right? And I was honestly feeling it when we first started this. I think what it is it's the kinetic movement in like the animation that is just choice, and I love that in both Teen Titans Go and in this. Like,
Yeah, I mean, they kind of took Teen Titans Go's animation style, but then they approached it like real sincerely. Like, I don't think there's any episode where they're like just farting for 15 minutes in this world.
no,
Yeah. I mean, not to say that Teen Titans Go doesn't have sincere episodes. I really like their Doom Patrol episodes that are like really good representations of the Doom Patrol within that world. But
Secret of Teen Titans Go, Dev, is it's a really good representation of that whole world.
I know, I just the episodes that I've seen outside of a couple of them have been disappointing. I don't know. I was planning to see the movie and I just never got a chance to. The
Well, it
freaking
was
Eye
like
of Sauron
mid-COVID,
shit.
wasn't it? No, I guess it would have been
It
way a
was
long time
pre.
ago.
It was before
Would have
it,
been,
but
yeah,
it
it
just
would have been
didn't
a long
work
time
out.
ago.
Yeah, yeah. Like
That's a much better mech suit than what I am used to seeing Krang in.
it's very similar to the design of the Shredder in the show, which I also dig because we were told that the Foot Clan worshipped the Krang.
Yeah.
Yeah.
April don't give a shit.
Thank you, Splinter. Where is the character development? Oh yeah.
Honestly, she is doing a phenomenal Casey Jones XP in this with like running around with a baseball bat, jumping off of people's heads in order to like get like parkour at places.
And yeah, I mean, when they gave her the baseball bat in the regular series, I was happy about it. She's super cool in this show.
And I guess with that, like it would be redundant if they just stuck to a traditional Casey Jones then, right? So
Yeah, and I mean the way that they did it, like the fact that like it was this character that was there but wasn't part of the team until the end was really cool. Like they called her CJ, but we never knew her name. It was nice. Ugh, that is a sight, huh? Put your dick in, Donatello. Do it. I think the other weird thing about this is that like every other Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie, they rely on Donnie and Michelangelo being a package deal.
Yeah.
Yeah, snap out of the alien mind control. What a cool way to like characterize that Krang as seeing himself as a savior to this planet.
I mean, it's kind of the big
It's like the
alien
Borg.
invader
Yeah,
trope
like
now,
yeah.
right? Like, I mean, like it's the Borg, it's Thanos, it's you know,
Oh my god, you gotta do it though, Michelangelo. I don't want to see this. I'm like already kind of grossed out. Oh no, don't do. Oh my god, it's happening.
things are about to get weird.
Things have been weird. Things are about to get juicy. Do it, Michelangelo. Take him out.
This is very, very Cyborg and the Apocalypse Wars style, like I have to become one with the ship in order to defeat. Yeah, yep, yep.
Wow, you nailed that, huh?
Yeah, no, I mean it is straight up Apocalypse Wars
Yeah.
Cyborg.
Wow, you like Zack Snyder was the perfect thing to compare this to. I kid, but do I kid? I really love the mutated Raph. It's so
Oh, and here we
cool.
go. I love this trope. It's going to be a big old trope, but I love it. Is that his well, I was going to say his human side, but that's not fair, right? His Raph side is going to have to take over, right? And you're going to
The best part about that is in the series, there is a character called Other Raph that is like the mental representation of Raphael. And I would love it if Other Raph was the way that this was solved. Let's talk about the fact that the ship accepted me, right? Oh, God. But you don't have your little shell on. Oh, that was terrifying. Oh, shoot. It's
you have
such
to
a
listen to Raph. You have to trust him. Here we
so
go.
talking about the fact that they're the same character. This is the movie that made them the same character. Oh gosh. Jeez. Oh, I think he said the magic word. Jeez, this is you nailed it.
Whoa, whoa.
Oh, that's a something, huh? like weirdly the same sort of theme there. Oh shit, the power was inside them all along. I am Captain Terrapin. Sorry. They said it. They said the thing.
This is the thing. Yeah, there it is.
Heroic music plays.
I mean, right? Resolution being that they need to learn to become a family and come together. Like this is all very Turtles. Like I am on board for that.
Oh yeah.
Ooh, soft shell.
I do like how his mystic power is to basically make machinery.
He's a Necronancer. I'm on board for that for Donnie.
Yeah. If this isn't the poster shot, someone's getting fired. We'll have to check at the end. I love you, April O'Neil. You're Devin Decker in Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle form. God, and I love a Splinter who's capable and able to do things. And that's why I loved Shredder's Revenge so much. Having Splinter as a character.
Well, yeah, I mean, which one of the movies is it? Is it the first one where Splinter like goes up against
Fight
Shredder at some
Shredder,
point?
yeah,
Like,
and then he flips him over the edge, yeah.
yeah.
Uh-oh. Oh, God, that was graphic. I dropped a building on your face.
Oh, yeah, not without first
Whoa.
impaling you.
Oh, she's alive somehow. Oh, it went through her eye hole. Does he have any sort of like earbud to be able to communicate with him? Have we seen? I don't know.
No, man.
like, do they have ears? I mean, it's fine and dandy to have the ship on the other side, but if they're still in our world, it defeats the purpose, right? They're clearly in the other world, right? Is this New York still? I can't tell.
Not yet. It's a liminal space, Devin.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate it. This is so anime.
Yeah. I was thinking I mentioned Spider-Man earlier, but like no joke, this is very into the Spider-Verse.
They said Kazoom in the subtitle, but they clearly said hot soup, which is their father's catchphrase.
Nice.
Like, in case you were wondering where the title of the episode came from. Do it, Raphael. Be Raphael.
Hot soup / Kazoom.
No, just hot soup. You don't know what you're getting. Come on, do it, Raphael. Oh, God. I love when Michelangelo goes in his shell. You're a jerk, Donatello. Oh, he did what Raph did earlier because he understands what it means to be a leader. I get it. That's
He's okay, though.
Such a good design. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Well, the eye over the eye is good, right? Like
Yeah.
yeah. It's a good shot. Yeah, no, there's a lot of really good stuff going on from the filmmaking perspective in this. This is wildly good in that regard. Tropey to hell, but like that's what you want from a TMNT story, right?
Yeah, it's the Turtles. That's what they do. Oh man. Oh, like I'm actually frightened of this Krang.
Oh, don't Baymax this shit. What are you doing, man?
Sweet reference to a movie I'm not a fan of.
Anytime, Diff.
Thanks.
Aw.
Do you think that in the UK all the heroes are switched out for ninja? I'm sorry. All meaningless. I really like how he throws the swords. So I guess they do have some sort of communication thing that we didn't see.
All on his wrist.
Yeah.
I think we did see that earlier. I do think we saw that they talked through those to each other, and so it's not unusual to think Casey would have been tapped into that at some point.
Right, especially since he's on Donnie Tech.
Okay, so where he can go is based on where the swords are. Is that what the deal is? I'm only just getting that.
So that the sword used to be how he opened portals, but then once he got his mystic powers, he could just kind of create portals as long as he was holding the swords.
Okay.
So I'm trying. This thing is like wedged in there, Dad. I mean, Sensei.
Well, this is going to be a wild resolution
Whoa. I hope
for
that
a
they
lot of
they have
reasons.
some of like callback to something earlier in the movie.
I hope they goes full on Avengers Tony Stark fall. That's what they need to do. Straight up reference all of it, man.
It's all canon. Somber music. Oh no. Oh, he said the thing! That's his new catchphrase. Oh shit. And now Leonardo's gonna become Gore, right? Because his god has forsaken him.
This is not the Tony Stark thing I was telling you to do. I meant
I had another thing. I swear to God, if Leonardo somehow snaps his fingers. You ret. Oh gosh. So good. Family, bro. Where are they gonna get another Leonardo? I guess they could just build a robot facsimile. Wow.
ballsy move.
Yeah. Oh, what? There's one of his swords, though. Again, if there are still Krang in our world, isn't there still the threat of the Krang?
Well, it seems like the only Krang left behind is her, and she is currently cruished. So, and considering the way April is looking at her, I don't think she has much time left on this earth.
Come on, Michelangelo. God, I love how his nunchucks are stored. Jesus. Oh shit, it's like the end of Guardians of the Galaxy. There's a lot of Marvel in this movie, huh? Oh, that was
There's a
fucking
lot of
cool.
superhero stuff because there's
Yeah,
also a lot of DC in this too, right? Like, which
yeah.
is again entirely the point of the Turtles, right? Like, is they use these common superhero style tropes to tell these very bizarre
I mean, they were a
but
parody
heartfelt
of
family stories.
Daredevil, right?
Right, exactly.
So
Yeah.
the foot is the hand, and
Well, and
Daredevil's accident is what caused them to mutate. It's beautiful
right.
stuff.
And then over the last like 10 years, the ways that they've played with the whole Turtles Batman stuff, right?
Yeah.
Like, so bringing them into the DC universe and them showing up in Injustice and all that.
Yeah.
That sucker.
Also, I mean, credit where credit's due, not killing the villain. He could come back.
Right, exactly. Need to save him for later.
Staten Island. Yes, I'm Jackie Daytona of Staten Island. Aw, shit, lens flare.
And then they got to get their J.J. Abrams in.
So also, like, where were any of the yokai from the show? They wouldn't help with the Krang? I guess I'm sad that, like, Baron Draxum isn't here.
Yeah.
I had pizza before we watched this.
See, a Casey Jones that doesn't know pizza is so foreign to me.
Yeah. I mean, this Stacey Jones clearly doesn't know Clint Eastwood or Charlie Bronson either. It's a lot of pizza.
Oh, they had to break the record.
Cassandra?
Ha! Okay, here you go. Just for you, Dev.
Hey, there she is. Don't have sex with your mom to make yourself. Don't Marty McFly this.
This isn't a Zemeckis film.
Hey, next time we're together, can we cheers pizza like that?
Don't touch the tips.
So, like, is future Casey Jones just here all the time now? Like Trunks?
I mean, it does seem like that's what they've done, is they've straight up just introduced him just as a future.
You liked my Dragon Ball Z reference?
I did appreciate it after I was talking about fusing earlier.
Oh, wait. Wrong
Who's
remote.
doing this?
Oh, shoot. That, okay.
Oh man.
So my thing screwed up. I lost the credits.
Me too.
Oh, that's awful. Usually we would talk through
Thanks,
the
Netflix.
credits. Yeah, freaking Netflix. You want to try to get them back?
Huh? Oh yeah, well, if we want to see what's
should
going on.
try to, like,
My,
do
what
that.
mine did is mine skipped directly to the show to episode 1.
So did mine. So let's we're gonna take it back if you're at home to the lens flare. Cause you gotta hear the music and stuff, like, and I want to know who played some of the other characters. I don't know. Watch the credits as we talk over them. It's not going to be the same sync, and I'm sorry about that. But, like, blame Netflix for why would anyone ever want to watch the credits to something?
especially an animated show or movie of any kind.
Yeah. Oh, Leo Ben Schwartz was also the janitor man. Oh yeah,
Oh
so it
man.
is Eric Baza who does Splinter. Rob Paulson was the name I couldn't think of, and John Michael Higgins is the guy. I missed who played the Krangs, but
Okay, so as someone that saw the show, and we did talk early on about how it felt like they were doing some really weird stuff that seemed to ignore what was going on the show. How how do you feel after the resolution? Because they did kind of all of a sudden in the last 2 minutes suddenly tie it into a bunch of crap we had not known about. All of this.
yeah, like apparently Cassandra was out there fighting Krang and just like not part of the gang. I don't know. As a standalone like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles piece of entertainment, this is fantastic. As a means to follow up what was a fantastic series, it's like night and day between the two of them. It
Mm.
doesn't feel the same. It retreads a lot of the same lessons that they learned in the series.
Well, and that's a sequel problem, right? Like
Yeah.
writ large, that's a sequel problem whenever, especially when it comes to these like superhero movies and especially like brooding ones, right? I was actually talking about this with somebody who had just finally seen the Batman, um, and they were saying like, so I ended up really enjoying it. But I don't know if I would want to see a sequel. Saying this to me, thinking I was going to jump on that to be like, well, no, of course we want a sequel. But I was like, no, I'm totally on board with you for that. Like what Matt Reeves did in that version of the Batman is phenomenal, but what is the sequel to that story? Like I don't need another movie where he broods for 2.5 hours and learns to love other people because that's what we just saw in this one. And any other version of that is just like you get into like Batman Forever, Batman and Robin territory where like there's no character arc for Batman in either of those movies. It's just let's watch him beat up some funny looking guys in costumes for 2 hours. And they don't land, right? They don't work. It's kind of that same thing here where like what like how do you tell a story with character growth for the leader of your group when you just spent two seasons of a show, right? Like that's what like it was doing exactly that already. It's like you have to hit a lot of the same beats again, and it doesn't always work. Now, as somebody that's never watched the show, those beats are fresh, those feel new, and like that's cool and different. But now, if I went back and watched the show, I would just feel like they were just retreading territory of the movie.
I guess what feels strange to me is, like I said, the last line of the series is, and now Blue, you are the leader, right? Because Splinter always refers to them by their colors, which is like, it's an interesting
Weird.
thing, and it's played off really interesting, as if
Is there
he
any love
doesn't.
behind it? It feels very
Yeah,
cold,
that's the
but
thing.
that
Like, it feels like it's cold in that and everything. But the whole character of Splinter in the series, as it's revealed, is he's so afraid of his love for things being exploited against him that's why he's so cold to his sons.
Hmm.
Because the only reason that he is a rat is because Big Mama, the head of the yokai mafia, like they were dating, but then it all turned out that she was only fake dating him to get him into the battle nexus. And then once he was in the battle nexus and he no longer was drawing a crowd, that's when she like sold him to Baron Draxum for the experimentation.
the mutation
So like
experimentations. Yeah.
everything, like caring about things and having feelings is what he realized was a weakness. So he's very cold to his sons. And then like the arc of Splinter throughout the series is learning that you can love things and not have that be a weakness.
Interesting.
But then like
It's
but
a wild kind
yeah,
of characterization for Splinter, who famously like the big thing about him is the father figure to the turtles. So that's wild.
yeah. And it works. They do a really good job like by the end of it. But then like the just referring to them by color is almost like an affectionate sort of nickname way of referring to his sons. Like it becomes like kind of cute. So that's why in the end they're like, "Oh, and Blue, now you're the leader." So then like what I was expecting in this movie was it to be Raphael, after being the leader for 2 years, trying to train Leonardo to be the leader. And like that's not really what happened.
Yeah, no, and I mean to the movie's credit, it's not like they set it up like that either. That's just not what this movie was gonna do, right? So
Yeah. Like it would be cool if no, Leo, I'm gonna try. I'm teaching. Like, there's a lot of responsibility now that you're the leader. Even like just that one sentence would have been a pretty cool change. Peter Laird and Kevin Eastman, based on their characters.
Just in case anybody was wondering. I
Um,
gotta say, Nickelodeon continuing the trend of I don't think I've ever seen a Nickelodeon movie that I didn't at least enjoy my time with. Like I won't sit back and talk about them being like groundbreaking or influential or important films in any meaningful way. Some of them surely are. Like I will never forget like the first time I saw Harriet the Spy and things like that, right? Like there's certain sorry, informative, informative like films from Nickelodeon for sure. But
okay.
like,
Real quick, the last Netflix just babunged on my end, and
mine too.
now we're all right. Perfect. Well, we did that in sync somehow. So I am going to stop it. We don't need to see all the other ways that it was dubbed around the world. And I'm going to take off my
Unless you're from
extra
around the
headphones.
world and you want to check out who did it in your place. I mean,
I mean, but I feel like we're having a conversation now about the movie, just like brief, and all that. Yeah, you're right. I mean, Nickelodeon, they do good movies. I don't think anybody would disagree with that. Can we talk about, like I mentioned, Rat Race before everything, and how they're selling Rat Race to me is Wayne Newton, not Wayne Newton, Wayne Knight.
wait.
Like they know I'm a Seinfeld fan. God damn it, Netflix algorithm. What do you want from me?
They always try and sell me Rat Race on Rowan Atkinson. That's always the title card for me with Netflix for that movie.
I mean, that's who you try to sell that movie with, right? Like,
Yeah. I for me, if you showed me Breckin Meyer in a fucking heartbeat, I'd be all on it.
yeah, but we're big Breckenmeyer fans. That's established as part of the Say report. But yeah, I don't know. Like that was not as epic as the finale of the show, while also being a different type of epic. But like it didn't get when I watched the finale of the Rise of the TMNT, there were tears in my eyes because of how much the series was about understanding we're a family and what it means to be a family. That like we rely on one another. You don't need to shoulder the burden all on your own. And
I
like
mean, let's
that
talk about this for what it is, right? Is it's clearly something to bring people to this series like me, who are tangentially aware, slightly aware. I know the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles exist, right? Maybe more than maybe a little bit more than most, just because of my nature of doing a show with you for years, and on top of that, you know, to be like being kind of nerding out on pop culture and all that. But like, I am very interested in going back and watching this show now. Like, I not that I wasn't not interested before, but there's something about the idea of like, well, now I've got something to hang my hat on, right? Like I've got something, I've got a handhold that I can start with. For starters, I know not to expect Casey Jones to ever show up, like that kind of thing,
good point. Yeah.
right? Like so, as somebody that's already seen it, I can totally hear that disappointment, right? In some of the choices that they made, and clearly there were disappointments on my end as we were watching it, but I have to say by the end of this movie, there is definitely this piece of me that's just like, okay, like I get it now. Like it was a little it took them probably about 20-30 minutes to really kind of hook me in the ways in which I was happy to be watching this movie, right? Like there was a definite moment, I think if we went back and listened to the tape, the literal tape we have on this, like 30 minutes into it, I start feeling a lot more like, all right, like show me what you got. Um because yeah, there's definitely some stuff at the beginning of this that is just there's a lot of time for me kind of to catch my bearings as somebody that has some awareness of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. So with all of that in mind, I think it succeeds where it's trying to succeed in that it's just trying to kind of get you interested in this. And as we now know, like creators of this are now out there pushing for this like return to it, right? So I think in that whole machine, that whole process of like really kind of bringing fans into this version of the Turtles, I think it succeeds in that.
And honestly, I get that. I mean, what I would like to see, because I've talked about there is this push to, revive the show, save the show, season 3 when everything that we're seeing there. And I don't think that's going to happen. I mean, possibly, but the way that they constructed it, it told a full narrative in the first season. Anything that came back would probably be like a reboot or like a joining our characters only already in progress sort of thing. It wouldn't be a direct pickup from it. I wonder, like, if any of the yokai stuff and Baron Draxum would even come forward into a season 3 of the series, because if this is what you're trying to do to grab people into the show, I mean, do you make a series 3 like this movie, or do
Yeah.
you go back to what you had before?
Yeah.
It's an interesting thing, and what I really wish I mean, if I had known it was going to happen, I guess I would have done it. I would have paid more attention to it, but I didn't realize that this movie could possibly be what is inspiring all of the love for this series that I am now seeing on social media.
I mean, it's no like kind of mistake that you're starting to see this big push for this return to this series. Paramount showing that, hey, it's back after this movie being out for what, 3, 4 weeks on
At
Netflix.
least a month. It's been out for at least a
Right.
month. So
Right. So like this idea being that it's all kind of happening at once is not surprising. Well, so the next thing I'd have to say is, I mean, money would have to be down that it would be not on television but on Netflix, right? If they did come back to this, right? Between the fact that this was a Netflix production and the fact that Netflix seemed to go whole fucking hog into some Eastman and Laird stuff, because in addition to this, they also bought into some like Jimbo stuff and like a whole like they seem to weirdly get in on turtle lore.
well, I mean, it's the way to make money. I mean, if I were
Right.
going to try to convince kids in the 90s to stay off drugs, I'd probably try to use the Ninja Turtles. Maybe one day I'll be president. I love it. I love that we record out of space and time. Yeah, it's the Turtles have always been big business, right? There's a reason why over the last 38 years we have constantly seen the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles come back into the limelight. Like no other franchise has that same sort of staying power. Like, I mean, I guess Transformers, but Transformers never really go away or disappear the way that the Turtles do, right?
Right.
It's the Turtles are this unique sort of property. And I mean, you say it would be on Netflix. Honestly, I think it would be on Paramount Plus. I think that Paramount Plus would do it as an original series. And that's why the push for it, because we've seen Netflix happy to produce movie versions of these things, and then Nickelodeon or Paramount Plus pick up those characters and then go to town with them. Think of
Yeah.
like the Rocco's Modern Life movie, the Invader Zim movie. Like those were
Yep.
Netflix productions, and then you saw how it played out and how it added to what Nickelodeon was doing. Nickelodeon wields Netflix like a tool, not the other way around.
Well, and I think Netflix is happy to be used in that way because they don't have to produce their own content in that regard, and they still get to be the place where people come to for that. Like I don't think they're an unwilling tool in that conversation. I don't think they're being like tricked or used in some way. Like they know
Oh,
what's
yeah.
going on. They know the score. So as like a hosting site for this stuff for people to come to for right now, they're perfectly happy to kind of to live in that world as long as they can. I don't know. It'll be wild to see what happens because first of all, as you pointed out, the turtles have been around forever. So this is not the last that we've seen of turtles. It's not like, oh, I don't
There's
know
a
if we'll ever
freaking
see
movie
another
coming out next year, Mutant Mayhem, the Seth Rogen movie, with
Yeah.
like that really, I'm going to say, unique art style that they confirmed that like this is what the turtles are going to look like in the movie. And
Yeah.
it's like kind of very inspired by something like Spider-Verse.
Right.
So it's we already know what the next Ninja Turtle thing is going to be.
Yeah, so like it's not a matter of we'll never see turtles again. It's I don't know if we'll ever see these turtles again. And that is both a shame, but also like as we said throughout this entire thing, this felt so kind of we don't know I don't know if they had a clear idea of exactly what they were doing this entire time. It feels like they did for sure, but as an audience member, it sure didn't feel like I was given the whole message, right? I never at any point felt like I was being given kind of like all of the information I needed to get on board with this. And that's probably for the best then that they may not continue down this pathway. I don't know. I would be very curious. I would be very into watching more of this. Like even if it's another straight up made for TV movie style like sequel to this or something. Like I'm in. Like but part of that is because I'm already kind of my foot's already in the door with being into Turtles, right? And like doing weird shit with characters I love, it's gotten me in the door the rest of the way. So like,
Yeah.
I was already going to buy into any future endeavor with this. But I'm curious to see how the rest of the world goes with it, because as you've mentioned, the ways in which we've seen this weird resurgence of love for this thing. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know. It's a cool piece of turtle media to exist, and like I'll buy the toys when they put them out, I guess.
I mean, nobody bought the toys when they put them out. I have a Raphael. I have a Splinter that I paid $1 for because he was on clearance.
I mean, you give me April on that bike, or Casey with his like chainsaw hockey stick, like I'll buy them.
Maybe years later when NECA finally gets to the Rise of the TMNT guys. But the original stuff that Playmates put out, they clogged shelves. Like, it's one of the reasons why the show, like, we don't want to believe that if the merchandising is bad, the show's not going to continue. But that has been a big part of how Nickelodeon has worked with their shows.
I
A
mean,
lot of the
Turtles
shows,
in general.
I
Like
mean, well,
they're up there with GI Joe and He Man. Like if the toys aren't selling, that character dies next episode. Is basically like the
that is very true. So what I will say is, if you're interested in the entire series of Rise of the TMNT after this, all 39 episodes are available on Paramount Plus.
and
If
Netflix.
no, not all 39 are on Netflix. The first 26 of season 1 are available on Netflix. So you don't have the second season there. I imagine they'll come eventually, but like one of the reasons why I don't know if a reboot or a rejoining this series already in progress happened would be on Netflix is the fact that Paramount Plus knows enough to hold something back as special just to their platform. I think they understand that they have something of value. They just don't know what to do with it.
Well, so now here's the other thing that to kind of think about, right? Is if you're somebody that wants to take in this show now, not a lot of people, more people have Netflix and access to Netflix and the Netflix library than people that do Paramount Plus. Whether that's out of their own choice or literally just like, I only can afford one thing a year. What is that thing going to be? Well, Netflix, because it has a fuck ton more than Paramount Plus does. Like, if that's the story, right? If all I have is season 1 of that show and then this, how's that for a wild ride?
I mean, they go from Draxum is defeated. They defeat Draxum at the end of the first season, but they don't like destroy him or kill him or anything like that. They still would have their original weapons, so it would be strange that you'd come into this movie and be like, "Why does Raphael have size now?" When he had Tonfas last time I saw him in the Rise world. They have mystic powers that are not explained. You don't know who that joke at the end completely falls on its face because you have no idea who Cassandra is because you've missed her whole arc. I mean, that's interesting. That's an interesting thing. And the last thing that I will say is all of these people on that post from Paramount Plus, when they're like, finally, all episodes are now available on Paramount Plus, people were like, when is season 2 going to come to Netflix though? Can we know when season 2 is going to come to Netflix though? Because I'd like to watch season 2, but I got the Netflix guy.
I got Netflix, and I ain't getting Paramount Plus for various reasons.
Fucking Christopher, it's con fucking Paramount Plus. I don't know. I'm doing The Sopranos, I guess. I don't know. So is there anything else you want to say before we send this one off, before we end our little vacation episode that is our 350th piece of Stay Report Media?
This was a wild ride. This was fun. I'm glad that we did this. I mean, like I can't believe that we revisited it after whatever was episode 9 or episode 39 or whatever we discovered the original one was.
Our 9th very special episode.
Yeah, coming back to this has been really cool.
Yeah. I mean, it's a good series, and I'm glad that we came back to it. I also really love doing these commentary episodes. So thank you. I hope you enjoyed it. If you didn't enjoy this, Sejohn is going to be handling all of the complaints about it. So get him on Twitter at Siege versus the World.
Do me a favor and find me on Facebook and let me know there. Oh man, yeah. And if you have any other Turtles tidbits that we maybe missed that you think maybe we should bring up and revisit in the next episode, let Dev know ASAP because we'd be happy to read them out. So you can find him at Devon D. Decker.
Yeah, I'm always willing to talk Turtles. The comic book store I used to go to, I was the Turtle guy. I don't know how I got that nickname. maybe we can figure it out after Will sends us home. Have a good one, folks.
Thank you for listening to the Say Report with your host Devon Decker and Stephen Serwick. Please follow the guys on Twitter and Facebook by searching for The Say Report, and you can always subscribe on your podcast channel so this is delivered straight to you and you can enjoy it every week. With apologies to your mother, we'll see you next time.